Honorable Speaker, Team Kenya was selected. Team Kenya to the World Athletics Championship was selected through a public process, public selection, or what they normally call trials, conducted by the Athletics Kenya, the federation responsible for athletics in the country. And this was a public process conducted on July 7 and 8 this year. We were present for this process. I attended day one of the trials, and the Principal Secretary for the State Department of Sports, Engineer Peter Toom, attended day two of the trial. So we were quite involved and engaged in observing that process. I can also confirm to this Honorable House that all the requirements to do with EDAC, the Anti-Doping Agency of Kenya, the Athletics Integrity Unit, AIU, all those requirements with regard to anti-doping were observed. There was a selection panel that presided over this exercise, and that panel consisted of officials mostly from Athletics Kenya, who from that list, Mr. Paul Mutui as the chairman, Mr. Mutui is a senior vice president of Athletics Kenya, Mr. Barnaba Korir, who is the youth development, the officer responsible for youth development in Athletics Kenya. Patrick Sang is a fine decorated coach in the athletics fraternity. John Kimeto, Milka Chemos. Milka herself is an athletics legend in her own right. Kenneth Tanui, Charlotte Kurgoy, Stephen Mwaniki, and Fred Owundo. Those were the team that presided over the selection of this team. I have also provided details, Honorable Speaker, on the requirements for selection, and it is quite a long list. In the interest of time, I'm conscious of your direction, Honorable Speaker, but we have provided details there, including the particular elements or the particular requirements that this selection team applied in picking the team. The criteria is detailed in segment 2 of my response, and pretty much it is normally a process that normally does not require the opening of any servers, Honorable Speaker, in the sense that it is open, it's on the track. The first two to cross the finish line are normally automatically selected. So it is very clear, it's very obvious. There is also normally a process where you can qualify through posting impressive time, through races that are keenly observed by Athletics Kenya as the body responsible. So that is the whole process, Honorable Speaker. In brief, I'm truncating my presentation to save on time, but that in brief is the process that led to our Team Kenya, that then we prepared to go to Budapest, and I can confirm to this House that the team was presented to the ministry after being selected, and we did have a major ceremony to hand them the national flag and to formally flag them off at the ministry headquarters. In terms of the financials, the budget expended on this assignment, we have provided a breakdown on page 10 of our submission, and we spent a total of 147,299,127 Kenya shillings on this particular assignment, broken up as follows. We spent 36,697,296 on allowances for this team, and all these allowances, I can confirm to this Honorable House, have been paid. We also had a homecoming ceremony when this team arrived back, and that ceremony for the team cost 466,000 Kenya shillings. The tickets for the team to fly to and from Budapest cost 76,856,500 450 Kenya shillings. Accommodation expenses out of country in Budapest cost 11,679,381. And then we had cash awards, cash rewards, amounting to 21,600,000. And Honorable Speaker, I will invite honorable members to look at, thank you, Senator, to look at an attachment we have provided on the schedule of cash awards. And I want to confirm to this House that one of the areas where the ministry, the government has done exceedingly well is to revise the whole reward scheme. Previously, the reward scheme has been extremely low. The payments have been unpredictable. You may want to know, for instance, Honorable Speaker, that last August, we held a ceremony where we were clearing allowances and cash rewards owed to athletes going back 11 years, amounting to 25 million shillings. Meaning that for 11 years, an athlete who represented Kenya has been waiting for their allowances, for their cash award for 11 years. We were able to settle that in August. But significantly, we also used that opportunity to reward some of our top legends and to improve the entire framework for rewards. And so, for the breakdown of that 21,600,000 reward money was applied according to the new scheme as follows. Gold medal was gold medal. We had 2 gold medalists. Faith Kipyegon, who won we had 3 gold medals. 2 gold medals for Faith Kipyegon and 1 gold medal for Mary Moraa. We also had 3 silver medals for Emmanuel Wanyonyi, Beatrice Chepkoech, Daniel Simiyu Ebenyo, and 4 bronze medals won by Faith Cherotich, Beatrice Chebet, Jacob Krop, and Abraham Kibiwot. Those are the areas where rewards were expended in terms of the rates in our new scheme, which I will come to shortly. So in terms of the budget, the expenditure on this particular assignment, it all comes down to 147 million Kenya shillings. The team returned after Budapest and was received by the ministry at JKIA. We had a ceremony to award them these cash awards or cash rewards. And this is a ceremony we hosted at the Talanta Plaza offices of the ministry. And the ceremony was indeed graced by His Excellency the President himself, who presented these cash awards to the athletes as per the list that has been provided. There was also a question on uniforms, and Honorable Speaker, it would be important for this House to note that as far as athletics is concerned, Athletics Kenya and the National Olympics Committee of Kenya, the 2 bodies that manage this space, have an agreement with Nike as a branding partner, and it is that partner who normally kits Team Kenya to this kind of competitions. And therefore, the kitting is not something that then we spend money on. It is done under the kitting agreement between the 2 federations and Nike. We have provided 2 annexes, which I would refer the House to. Annex 1, which provides details on allowances and the cash rewards, and Annex 2, which provides details on the tickets. Let me really emphasize how significant it is, Honorable Speaker, that when we came to office, we made the transformative decision to revise the reward scheme for the entire sports ecosystem, raising rates for both allowances and cash rewards. Allowances have been tripled from 1,000 Kenya shillings to 3,000 for local camping. That is when the athletes are in camp. After the team is selected, they go into a local camp. Ordinarily, previously, they were being paid 1,000 shillings a day. We have raised that to 3,000 shillings a day while they're in camp here. We also raised the rate when they are in competition, when they have traveled, like when they were in Budapest. And that we raised from $60, 60 US dollars, to $200 US as a daily stipend to the athletes. And those rates are already being applied. We have also introduced a new cash award of $5 million for breaking a world record. Previously, there was no provision whatsoever for breaking a world record. You broke a world record, you had some mursik and danced to some iskuti at the JKA, and then you went home. But now we have a new arrangement where every world record is rewarded with 5 million Kenya shillings. And Faith Kipyegon and Kelvin Kiptum have already benefited from this new scheme. We also significantly raised the rewards for medal winners to 3, 2, and 1 million for gold, silver, and bronze. For gold, now you get 3 million, 2 million for silver, and 1 million for bronze, respectively. We have also introduced the Hongera Awards, which, among other firsts, rewarded legends going back to the 1960s, and also settled 25 million shillings in cash rewards arrears going back 11 years ago. It was really, really incredulous that athletes who competed for this country 11 years ago are still waiting for their allowances. I'm glad to report to this House that we have settled that in full. We have also opened a Hall of Fame to honor Kenya's sporting and creating greats. And at the Talanta Plaza, you can actually now walk through a Hall of Fame, right from greats like the late Wilson Kiprugut Arap Chumo, the first Kenyan to win an Olympics medal for this country, all the way to the current greats like Faith Kipyegon and Mary Moraa, which we believe is a fitting legacy, a fitting honor to our athletes. Quickly now to go to the question on the management, the financial management, including the book of accounts for grants and subsidies, as well as the latest report on disbursement and procurement processes within the Sports, Arts, and Social Development Fund. Honorable Speaker, I want to report to this Honorable House that over the last 5 years, this fund has realized total revenues from betting activities, because this is a betting levy, amounting to 48 billion Kenya shillings. And the fund has, in that period of 5 years, disbursed 41 billion 793,444,631 in that 5-year period. Of that disbursements, records do indicate that the sports sector got 65%, 30% to the social development sector, and 5% to arts and culture. Social development includes healthcare, include education, and among the areas that the fund has supported, for instance, is the rollout of UHC, the school feeding program in schools. Those are some of the social development interventions that the fund has supported in that period. In the last financial year, 2022-2023, the fund had revenues of 10,427,518,883. And the Oversight Board, which is the organ responsible for authorizing disbursement, approved disbursement amounting to 7,951,585 to various sectors. 6 billion 6.3 billion to sports, 1.2 billion to social development, and 324 million to culture and the arts sector. We have annexed to this submission the audited financial statement for the financial year 2021-2022, which is marked as Annex 3, summary of revenue and disbursements to various sectors from the year 2018-2019 to the financial year 2022-2023. All those are provided as annexes to these submissions. And as far as procurement is concerned, this is done ordinarily under the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act of 2025 and the regulation thereunder of 2020. Let me now move on to the leadership of the fund. Honorable Speaker, the leadership or the management of this fund is established under the Public Finance Management Act, Sports, Arts and Social Development Fund regulations of 2018. And you have the highest decision-making organ of the fund is the Oversight Board. The Oversight Board is constituted by the Principal Secretary responsible for Finance, National Treasury, the Principal Secretary responsible for Sports, the Principal Secretary responsible for the Arts, the Principal Secretary responsible for Health, the Principal Secretary responsible for Education, one person not being a public officer nominated by the CS, responsible for Sports, another one nominated by the CS for Health, and the third nominated by the CS for Treasury or Finance. The chairperson of the board is ordinarily appointed from amongst these three independent board members. Below that board, you have the CEO, administrator, and secretariat of the fund, and this is the team that now does the day-to-day management of the fund. Honorable Speaker, the recruitment of the Chief Executive Officer or the CEO of the fund is also contained in Regulation 12.2 of the Legal Notice number 194. According to this regulation, the CEO is appointed through a competitive process by the board, and this has to be done in consultation with the Public Service Commission. And in accordance with this regulation, the Oversight Board of the fund advertised for the CEO position on April 25 and conducted a competitive recruitment process in consultation with the Public Service Commission. The appointment of a substantive CEO was made in compliance with Regulation 12.2 of the Public Finance, Management, Sports and Arts Social Development Regulations 2018. And so I can confirm to this House that this process was open, it was competitive, it was transparent, it was accountable, and we believe it gave the best output or the best officer that we could find. We have provided details, again, as annexes, and there is a copy of the advert inviting applications for Kenyans to apply for this position when we opened it up. Those details are annexed. Question number D, and that is the final question, is on the measures that the ministry has taken to enhance compliance with the legal and ethical standards of the fund, specifically with regard to previously reported allegations of financial irregularities. And I can report to this Honorable House that the Oversight Board, we have taken some institutional measures. One of the challenges we found when we came to office a year ago was that the board was not properly constituted. And you know the board bears the primary oversight responsibility. We have moved with haste to make sure that the board is now fully constituted, it has full membership, and it has a chair, as required by the law and by the regulations. We also found a situation where the CEO had been in acting capacity for years, which of course is not good for performance, is not good for accountability, is not good for certainty and predictability. And that is something we fixed. Now we have a permanent CEO competitively recruited who can now focus all his attention on leading the management of the fund. We have also gone out of our way to make sure that the fund is autonomous, the fund is transparent, it's accountable. We have had unfortunate scenario in the past of attempts to interfere with the independence or autonomy of this fund. We now have a situation where the fund is functioning autonomously as should be the case. The board is now streamlining the management, and they're taking full responsibility as required by the law. We have provided annexes, Annex 3 and Annex 4. Annex 3 is a summary of revenues and disbursements to the various sectors which I have mentioned, and Annex 4 is the advertisement for the position of the Chief Executive Officer. Let me just conclude by saying that the fund is ordinarily subjected to continuous internal audits and annual external audits by the Office of the Auditor General. These audits look at financial records, operations of the fund. They identify discrepancies, irregularities, and provide a recommendation for intervention. I want to assure this House that the Ministry will continue to ensure that audit queries that arise are subjected to oversight and action, and as the Cabinet Secretary, I will continue to take responsibility to ensure that the fund abides by the law and the regulations as expected of me. I submit, Honourable Speaker.
Thank you, Cabinet Secretary. Senators, we're going to take supplementary questions, and I would ask that you keep your questions very brief. And Cabinet Secretary, also, when you're responding to these questions, if you could also keep it brief and precise. Senator Kisang.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Honourable Speaker, my supplementary question is to the CS regarding Kamareny Stadium and Kipchoge Stadium. In his response earlier, he said that there is a special audit that is going on. I wanted to know how long will this special audit take? And secondly, when the audit is completed, are you promising this House that next financial year you are going to allocate resources so that all the stalled stadiums will be restarted? Because we have waited for these particular stadiums for long. You know, it's been there, it's close to 10 years now, on and off. And it looks like nothing much is coming out.
Yes, you can respond.
I can confirm to the Honourable Senator that we are in constant touch with the Office of the Auditor General. We have information, latest being this morning, that this audit is right at the tail end. We expect that this audit should be concluded in no more than a month. We will be liaising. Of course, I must also admit to the House that the Office of the Auditor General is an independent constitutional office which cannot be directed, including on timelines, but we have impressed upon them. Even if you look at my letter, which I have attached, we did request for expedition to conclude it in good time. We hope it will be done in good time. And as soon as it's concluded, we will be swinging into action immediately. I can also confirm to the Honourable Senator that we have every plan, every intention to complete all the stalled stadia. Indeed, when you look at the sports infrastructure master plan that I have referenced or have referred to, it sets 3 targets. Target number 1 is to return Kenya to international competitiveness by rejigging and improving our international facilities. Number 2 is to have quality regional stadia, starting with the stalled ones. And number 3, to invest in community grounds that will also host community academies. That is my guarantee, Honourable Speaker.
Thank you, CS. Abbas Sheikh Mohammed, Senator.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Honourable Speaker, my question to the CS is that what are the plans, because in my county, Wajir, and the neighboring counties, there are no proper stadiums. They are actually small ones and not well done. As you're aware, there are many youth who are unemployed, and sports actually is one of the things that nurtures the talents of the people, the youth. And of late, you know, there are many people, youth have resorted back to taking drugs. They are now recruited in, funny places like, Al-Shabaab and these things. And the best way to keep these youths is actually in the sports. So I'm asking the minister what plan he has for those areas. Two, I'm seeing most of the times the stadiums are actually neglected.
Senator Abbas.
Senator
Abbas, you only allowed one supplementary question.
Well, it's just
so I will ask
the same questions, not two, but the same things, similar things. Not really, yeah? Let me finish, yeah? I'm saying the stadiums are actually not well managed in most places, and they're neglected. So the stadiums coming under the counties, or it comes to the office, and I think the most appropriate thing will be to engage some of these youth to take over the management of the stadiums. Finally, I want to thank you and your ministry for recruiting the CEO, Brother No. No, I know it's not known to me. He's a well-qualified and a young man, well-schooled and qualified, and meets actually the position he takes, that he's actually qualified for that. And I want to tell my brother Sergei that No is actually a stakeholder, and he owns shares in the company. Thank you.
CS, please.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, Honorable Senator Abbas. I want to agree that definitely in the distribution of sporting facilities, the northeastern region of this country has not received its due consideration. And that is why, Honorable Speaker, we have made the transformative decision to now develop infrastructure in the context of a master plan, so that we don't do it at individual whim, where a person decides this one will go to this corner. We have done a master plan that provides empirical logic why we would put a facility in Marsabit, why we would put one in Garissa or Mandera. And in the context of that master plan, the long wait by the northeastern region for sporting facilities will definitely come to an end. And I want to assure you that through the Talanta Hela program, for instance, we have seen sporting activities in Wajir, in Mandera, in Garissa, greatly limited by the limitations around facilities. So it is something we have already experienced, and I want to assure Senator Abbas that this will receive due, indeed it is receiving due consideration. With regard to the necessity to engage young people, I do agree with the Honorable Senator that left unengaged or left on their own, there's always the risk of drugs, the risk of radicalization, and many other challenges. And that is why we are being very deliberate, very intentional, very structured in growing talents from the best. The reason behind our revolutionary Talanta Hela initiative, and all the counties of Kenya, including Mandera, Garissa, Wajir, and that whole belt of the northern region is fully incorporated in the Talanta Hela program. Every part of this country has to get the opportunity to be part of development in sports. And of course, we are also happy that the competitive, very transparent, very accountable process gave this country a fine Kenyan young man from that region who we believe is up to the task of delivering in this position. I thank you, Honorable Chair.
Thank you, CS. Senator Fatuma Dulo.
Chair, Mr. Speaker, thank you very much, and CS, welcome to the Senate. First, let me say congratulations to one competitor who was against me in the last race of Senate in the name of Nur Mohammed, that I'm happy the government has given him an opportunity to serve in the fund. Number two, Mr. Speaker, I wanted to ask CS of course, Senator Abbas has asked about the counties. 2013, the government of Kenya has promised to build stadia in most of the counties. And if I may speak for Isiolo County, we have a very small stadium that is being constructed by the county government. And I think maybe in future, the county government or national government should be able to work together with county government to come up with a better stadium so that you complement each other and come up with a proper stadium that will serve Kenyans. Finally, Mr. Speaker, if you can allow me, if you don't cut me short, just one more question on the other second part. Mr. Speaker, I just wanted to know how are the projects identified by the sports fund to be financed by the board? Thank you.
CS.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and through you, thank you, Senator Fatma. I want to confirm and to admit that the promise of 2013 on sporting facilities was not fulfilled. That is a fact that we cannot run away from. But also to confirm to this Honorable House that we now have a new administration, new leadership, new sheriff in town with a new style of doing things. And our style is called Bottom-Up Economic Transformation Agenda, which is very, very focused on transforming the fortunes of this land, every corner of this land, every blade of grass, every grain of sand, bottom up, meaning that all the corners of this country are guaranteed investment in all sectors, including this sector of sports. And to agree with Senator Fatma that indeed it will be good, and I want to urge the leadership of counties to work with the national government in developing sporting facilities. This ensures standardization. I can confirm to this House that we have been out there to look at some of the stalled facilities that were initiated by the county. Let me give the example of Bomet. We went to look at Bomet Stadium, and the manner in which that project was conceived and deployed by the county can tell you that it could have been done a lot better if it had been done in partnership with the national government in terms of standards. And I can confirm here also that we have taken the initiative to approach a number of counties. For instance, we have agreed formally with the county government of Kakamega on completion of Buhungu Stadium, and we have agreed on a certain way of doing it in a manner that meets CAF and FIFA standards. We have also done the same with the stadium in Olkalau. We are doing the same with now in Bomet. We are making an intervention in Bomet. We are making an intervention in areas where we believe definitely county governments working with national governments will deliver better. And so even in Isiolo, we should be able to do better in terms of what is going on with the stadium in Isiolo. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Senator. Yes, she claims there was a second part of the question.
Oh, yes, that is a significant part of the question. The logic, the procedure, how we identify projects. And I did mention at the beginning of my answer that we came into office and found all these stalled facilities all over the place. Wote in Makueni, Kamarin in Elgeyo Marakwet, Marsabit, and all over the place. And one of the things we noted right away was that there was no logic in the selection of some of these projects. And that's where we now have a master plan. The Sports Infrastructure Master Plan provides logic for each of these projects. I'll give an example. There was a plan to do an international stadium in Kamarin in Elgeyo Marakwet County. Upon consultations and empirical logic, we realized no one will ever go to compete in Cameroon because of the high altitude. It is a training place, not a competing place. And so we have decided to do an elite training center, an elite high altitude training center, instead of an international stadium. So we now have a frame that is logically conceived, which we believe will be able to fix this challenge and make sure that every corner of Kenya is reached in a logical manner and not left to the whims of individuals. I submit.
Senator Margaret Kamar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. I want to thank the Minister for re-energizing the sector, and we believe he will be able to do well if he implements what he has presented before us today. As I seek a clarification on one statement he made, I also want to congratulate Kevin Kiptum, the new marathon world record breaker. And the Minister already awarded him the 5 million, and we thank him for that, to re-energize the whole sector. This is actually a member from my own village where I was born. But I wanted to get clarification, Mr. Speaker. When you pay a world record breaker the award of 5 million, does he still get the award of the gold? Because you can get gold without being a world record breaker. It was not clear to me whether when you break the record, you are given an additional award so that you are excited, so that our youth can move on to break records, because they know there are two different awards. Is it still the same one? The same golden one of gold, or you are giving over and above that? Otherwise, Kiptum, I say congratulations.
Thank you, Senator. I would want us to take the last two questions, then you can answer all the three questions. The last two questions will be asked by Senator Cherargei and Senator Mohamed Chute. Senator Mohamed Chute.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I have two questions, but one I will ask now, the other one later on. Mr. Speaker, let me take this opportunity to thank our CS for coming here today, and also thank him immensely for the contributions he has made to this country, both as a politician and also as a CS. Similarly, Mr. Speaker, I would want to thank the CS for a successful bid of AFCON sports games. Mr. Speaker, let me also take this opportunity to join my fellow senators, both Abbas and Senator Dulo from Isiolo, to congratulate His Excellency, our beloved President, Dr. Samuel Ruto, for appointing our able CEO Sports Fund, a young Senate aspirant, and also who has worked for IBC for many years. And Mr. Speaker, you will find this gentleman in the office from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m.
Senator Chute, I was expecting you to ask for a supplementary question.
My question will be very short, Mr. Speaker. This guy comes from Isiolo. On behalf of the people of Marsabit and Isiolo, I want to congratulate him. Thank you very much for the good job you are doing. My question, Mr. Speaker, is about Marsabit Stadium. The CS has elaborately said, and he said it very well. He knows about Marsabit very well. But I wanted to know from the CS, if he has gone to Marsabit, to look at the collapsing structures. If he has not done so, can he tell us when is he going to visit Marsabit Stadium for a good report, and also to come and tell the country what has happened in that stadium. Thank you very much for now, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Cherargei.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mine is very brief because I have one and I will ask later. Mr. Speaker, there's an annexure that has been provided on the air ticket that was paid to Budapest. This is in economy, and it is 850,650 shillings. To the CS, is it wise to take people like Faith, like Ebenyo, Simiu, Daniel, using economy class, while yourself and the PS use business class? I thought they should be using business class and use economic class because they are going to work, they are not going to relax. Is it in order, CS, that our athletes should get at least leg room and relax and be able that when they land and go to Olympic Village, they should get a good relaxation on the way, Mr. Speaker? So I think, and then looking at this was around 76,856,450 through the economic class, Mr. Speaker, and therefore I really want to understand the logic behind getting our athletes who should at least get proper leg room when they are traveling, Mr. Speaker. On sports fund audited report, Mr. Speaker, I'll request that I will engage the public accounts and the Labour Committee, because there are many questions within the Auditor General's report, Mr. Speaker, because they don't look very good. Even the basic accounting is not up to standard. So, Mr. Speaker, I will ask my second question later. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll take one last question from the Majority Leader, and then you can answer.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this chance. I'll be very brief because I know time is far much spent. Congratulate the CS for the work that he's doing, for the good things that have been noted by colleagues, and the challenges that have been expedited. Of course, additionally, I've realized that many people have congratulated Noor Mohammed on his appointment to serve as CEO of Sports Fund. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Noor Mohammed was in charge of the IBC team that oversaw my by-election back in 2015. So I'm happy for him as well. If he conducted that by-election for me successfully, I'm sure he can do a good job at the fund, and I wish him well as well, Mr. Speaker. CS, you and I go worried about is the time that it has taken to resolve certain matters, which I wish the CS to bring this House up to speed in terms of how much more time does he need to resolve these issues. Number one, the doping menace, especially in our athletics. Has the CS taken time to visit, say, Uasin Gishu County and Elgeyo Marakwet, where the known drug peddlers who are misleading our young athletes have set up camp? Has he taken time to do a public kamkunji with the athletes and understand who are these people who are misleading our young people to take performance enhancement drug that is leading to our ban? This issue is so serious, and CS, you know about it, that if it was not for the intervention of the president last minute, Kenya was not even supposed to participate in the World Championship. And therefore, I am a bit worried that the CS and his team that are here together with his PS and the team are taking longer in resolving this matter. If it is an amendment to the law that we passed here in 2016, I expect to see a legislative proposal here, because that is something that has the potential of embarrassing this country in a very bad way. Lastly, Mr. Speaker, is on management of federations. Many of our federations pose a great challenge to the ministry, and I understand about sports very well. Apart from politics, the only other thing that I engage in so deeply is sports, and I'm a lover of sports. And I know the challenge that we have with our federations, Mr. Speaker. And I'd wish to hear from the CS, what is his plan? What is his plan on how to better manage and at least guide? I know because of international obligations that Kenya has signed on to with many other global bodies, his hands are tied on many other aspects. But at least there are those that we can resolve locally. Athletics, for example, hasn't had elections for over a decade. Yet some of the people that have taken the government to court, I see them sometimes in the company of a CS doing certain responsibilities. So what is his plan in unlocking this challenge that we have with our federations. Thank you for your kind consideration, Chair. Speaker.
Cabinet Secretary, I think there are 4 questions.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I will take them in reverse order, starting with the question posed by the Honourable Majority Leader. I want to agree that doping is a matter of, I would actually even call it a matter of national interest, a matter of strategic national interest. And indeed, when this administration came to office, one of the very first crises we had to confront immediately was the very real threat of Kenya being banned by World Athletics because of a doping menace, a doping crisis that had reached unimaginable levels. And I'm glad that among our key success stories was that we engaged with World Athletics, the Athletics Integrity Unit, AIU, the World Anti-Doping Agency, WADA, and we were able to agree on an intervention plan. Indeed, among the very first measures we took in office was to host a multi-agency forum to agree on how to confront this plan. And we agreed on specific intervention measures. One of those measures was to put in place a multi-agency team to lead the anti-doping effort, which we have done. We have put together a team, and that team is actually led by a former elite athlete, Wesley Korea, who leads that team. We also committed significant funds, $5 million a year for the next 5 years, to help propel that. And therefore, we have a team. What we realized was that the previous war against doping was rather disjointed, and effort had not been made to join dots. Now we have a multi-agency team that brings together investigative bodies, NIS, DCI. We have the judiciary that is part of this team so that we can be able to deal with issues of prosecution. We have the Department of Health, which is part of this team. So it is a composite team which can deal with this menace from prevention, because prevention is key. And by the way, for these athletes, arrest of, or rather nabbing an athlete is not very useful to the athlete. What is really useful is prevention. And so the significant investment has to be at that level of prevention, investigation. I visited a camp, I can inform the Honourable Majority Leader through you, Honourable Speaker, that I visited a camp in E10. And one of the things I noted was that it is actually possible for an athlete to run into trouble by merely taking drugs across the counter. You walk to a chemist, you buy a drug across the counter. That drug may contain some elements which will actually ring bells, and you get into trouble with anti-doping bodies. And so I want to assure this House to have faith in the program we have put in place, the team, the multi-agency team we have put in place. It may have taken a bit of time, but remember the magnitude of the crisis we inherited. And it required a well-thought-out plan. Indeed, when the president of World Athletics, Lord Sebastian Coe, visited Kenya in January this year, he sympathized with us, and that is why World Athletics agreed with the plan that we put on the table. I want to assure the Honourable Majority Leader and this House that we'll definitely move with greater haste to roll out the program that we have put together under this plan, led by this multi-agency team. We will also be more available, but I can also tell this House that there are investigations that are at a very advanced level, advanced stage. There are some cases that are at a very advanced stage, of course, for obvious reasons. I wouldn't divulge details. And so I believe that we are on a good course in our anti-doping war. And the mantra in the ministry today is zero tolerance to doping. That's the mantra that we are driving. On the management of federations, yes, if I were to pick challenge number 1 for this ministry, the number 1 ranking challenge, it would be federations. and it is across the whole sporting arena. From swimming, we have had a big challenge with swimming. The last 3 months, actually, we have spent so much time to sort out a swimming crisis going back 7 years. We are on the verge of cracking that crisis in swimming. Football has had its challenges. The Honorable Majority Leader is right to say that he and I go a long time, and he and I have shared a lot of thinking, a lot of thoughts around the question of how do we fix our football? How do we align our football? How do we propel and deploy the full potential of our footballing, of our footballing talents? And so we have put together a framework of engagement with federations. I did call all federations to a forum. All of them, 69 of them, turned up. We agreed on a number of irreducible minimums. Those minimums include transparency and accountability in the utilization of resources placed at their disposal. It also includes governance, because the biggest challenge in federation is governance. And I can tell you that when you fix governance, it's amazing to see the results. You can see what is happening in our rugby. We were able to sort out the leadership issues in rugby. Our rugby is actually coming back. And our Shujaa team has just beaten the rest of Africa to qualify for the Olympics next year. And so if we fix the leadership in our federations, we will definitely perform better in sports. I want to give this as my assurance that we are on to this. Football, we have a plan, a roadmap on how we are going to sort out football and the rest of the federations. But let me also admit that among the greatest challenges we face is litigation. Every time you make an effort, someone runs to court. A court issues an injunction. We have faced those injunctions. Athletics Kenya has injunctions running back almost 10 years. We are figuring out how to deal with this litigious environment or a culture, even as we fix our sports. Let me move quickly to the question posed by Senator Cherargei, the travel by our athletes. This is a budgetary issue that cuts across the whole of the sporting arena. And it is something definitely, I can tell this Honorable House, it is something that would not be beyond the ministry to consider a review in the event that there is a sufficient budgetary provision to be able to provide our athletes with better traveling conditions. What we do normally is that we try to ensure that the athletes travel in good time so that they arrive at their destination in good time and they have sufficient time to relax and to rest and to train before competition. But if I'm hearing this House say that we want our sportsmen and women to travel in more comfortable conditions, then that is something which definitely the ministry would listen to and consider within the normal budgetary limits. Quickly moving on to the question by Senator Margaret Kamar and Senator Honorable Speaker, let me confirm that the 5 million reward to a world record breaker covers two terrains. There are competitions which do not involve what you may call classical podium finishes or classical podium finishes of gold and all that. And the example are the city marathons, like the Chicago Marathon. And so you break a world record, we will give you your 5 million. Now, let's take the example of the Olympics, which is a sport that, or is an arena that also takes pride in the podium finish. So you win gold and you also break the world record. Then what? The 5 million is then treated as an enhanced reward. It's treated as an enhanced reward. So it covers both. But should you win multiple medals, and I'll give the example of Faith Kipyegon, who won 2 gold medals in Budapest, then you are rewarded per gold medal. The reward that we have for every gold medal. And for instance, our reward for gold medal at that level is 3 million shillings. So Faith was rewarded with 6 million shillings, 3 million for each of the gold medal. That is how it has been structured. But again, this is a policy, it's a new policy that the ministry has put in place, and it would definitely be subject to input of the Senate. Would be willing to listen to how to make this scheme even better than what it is today. I think I'll now move on to the question by Senator Shule. And Senator, I want to appreciate through you, Honorable Speaker, for the kind words from Senator Shule. And just to tell this Honorable House that indeed, we inherited a total mess in this sporting arena, a total mess. We came to office, we found Kenya suspended by FIFA, we found a crisis with doping, crisis in swimming, crisis in handball. It was crisis. Everywhere you looked, you saw crisis. And I'm glad that 1 year down the line, we can count milestones of success. The other day, I sat back to listen to governors debating where the Africa Cup of Nations should be hosted. And I said, wow, what a good debate. 11 months from a FIFA suspension. I mean, to imagine that 11 months ago, we were not even talking football because the country was suspended. A short 11 months down the line, we are now contesting where AFCON should be held. It is remarkable. It's a remarkable turnaround, and it's a remarkable success stories. And it is good for us to commend the successes of our teams. Let us commend the team that put together the bid. I really commend His Excellency the President, who was really the champion of this bid. It was the leadership of the President that rallied his regional colleagues, President Museveni in Uganda, President Samia Suluhu in Dar es Salaam, to come together really and support this East Africa Pamoja bid. And I applaud our President and his colleagues in the region for that. Let us also applaud our teams that have done well as we prepare for the Olympics. Our volleyball women team, Malkia Strikers, have conquered Africa and will be at the Olympics. Our women sevens team, the Shujaa, have conquered Africa and they'll be at the Olympics. Our team in Riga, Latvia, conquered the world and emerged top in the world. Our Budapest team conquered the world and led Africa in Budapest. Our football is back. Harambee Stars is making baby steps to come back. Next Monday, we'll be playing Russia in Turkey. And this will be the first time for a Kenyan national football team to play an A-list team in global football. And perhaps where I would invite this House to really commend is our women football. Our women football has really grown. I was with Senator at Nyayo Stadium to watch our rising Harambee starlets. Our girls put 6 goals past a very experienced Angolan team to literally qualify for the next round in the race to the World Cup Under-20 Championship. And before that, the senior women team, the Harambee Starlets, did something that no Kenyan team has ever done, to beat a Cameroonian team in a competitive game when they knocked out Cameroon in the qualifiers for the Women Africa Cup of Nations. And we are now preparing this team to face the next round, and we have a lot of faith that they'll qualify for the competition. So overall, our sports is at a good level, and I believe that we are making good progress. I beseech this House, I ask this House to support the efforts we are rolling out under the bottom-up economic transformation agenda in this sector of sports. I submit, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much, Cabinet Secretary. At this point, we will give you leave. Thank you very much for answering all the questions, and thank you for the good job you're doing at the Ministry, and we wish you all the best. Thank you, Cabinet Secretary, and your team. Honorable Senators, the question number 11, 12